Lisa, it looks like we discussed this over recent days. There's been quite the shift, hasn't there, in terms of attitudes towards lockdowns in the Sunshine State. What's your take?
Well, I think business would be very happy right now, Kieran. This is a seismic shift, a significant shift in the way in which Premier Annastacia Palaszczuk and Chief Health Officer Jeanette Young are handling this pandemic. Similar circumstances, similar concerns, similar community transmission. 3 months ago, we'd be in lockdown. Now we are not. And I think, they're putting all their eggs into the other basket, if you like, which is contact tracing, masks, vaccination, making sure that people do the right thing. So I think, the cynics will suggest, Kieran, that, with the grand final hanging on by a thread, that they have tried every conceivable way to deal with this outbreak in a measured fashion. But in a de facto way, many people are saying it's the right thing to do. I just hope that if we are able to get the grand final in on Sunday with a reduced capacity at Suncorp Stadium, that we don't then fall into the trap of these knee-jerk, quick, hard, snap lockdowns when we do get cases that can be alleviated to many extents by these more sort of responsible community measures.
And Gleeson, we've seen a setback for the grand final in terms of crowds being slashed.
Yeah, we have indeed, Kieran, and the crowds are down from 52,000 to 39,000, so a 25% reduction in the crowd numbers. What that means is that those people who bought their tickets last will in fact now not be able to go. So there'll be a lot of disappointed fans in southeast Queensland right now who are looking forward to Sunday. Personally, Kieran, I don't know about you, but I can't tell the difference between 40,000 and 50,000 at a game of footy. But clearly the health advice is that by reducing those numbers, it somehow mitigates the effect of the transmission of the disease. There'll be a lot of people scratching their head, but those are the rules, and unfortunately that means that a significant amount of people, footy fans, won't get to see the Bunnies and Panthers in action live on Sunday.
Yeah, and Glee, so the question, or one of the many questions at the moment, because you're right to raise that discrepancy in approach. It is very stark between what we're seeing now and in previous cases where there have been a couple of cases, whether it be in Indooroopilly, the school, or whatever else that you and I have been talking about for months. This is a different approach. Now, I just wonder whether the Premier will go to Suncorp when there have been thousands of fans who've had their tickets basically torn up. Will she show up on the weekend?
I'd like to know as good a thing at Randwick on Saturday, Kieran. She'll be there, and she'll be there with bells on, because this is a major coup. I mean, this is a once-in-a-lifetime event. You would think. I mean, one never knows in this COVID era, but, to have a footy grand final. I mean, the NRL grand final was locked in Sydney until, I think, 2069 or something. OK, so, for it to be in Queensland, I mean, this is an extraordinary coup, and off the back of getting the AFL grand final last year, you can see why the Premier is popular in Queensland, because she keeps them safe and she still delivers up on big international, or not international, but domestic sporting events. So she'll be there. She might even be handing out the JJ Gilton and Shield, Kieran, because, she's front and centre of whatever goes on in Queensland these days.
And it's a good point, and she probably won't be booed like most politicians are at a footy event. It says quite a bit, doesn't it, Gleeson?
Yeah, well, that'll be interesting. I mean, it's always a great barometer, isn't it, when you see or hear the crowd and their reaction to politicians. Look, I think, we've spoken about this, Kieran. If there was an election held tomorrow, I think she'd romp in. There is still a very strong Annastacia Palaszczuk brand in Queensland, and despite all the horror stories that we hear, with the exemptions unit, lack of compassion, all that sort of thing, when it comes to the big KPI, which is keeping Delta out and making sure that we maintain our liberty and freedoms, she hits the right note there.